Is the difference in fabric weights and yardage, both, or either, of a kilt discernible to the casual observer? So,
To the casual
observer looking at you wearing a kilt.
Let's assume for a half second or for 2 minutes while we discuss. We're talking about, let's say, 16 ounce.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, weight or yardage. So
you can do both or either.
We're going to talk about wool first. Okay. So, starting with yardage, is the yardage discernibly different to the casual observer? No, unless you turn around and you see the back of the kilt is different, or the set is cheated or something like that. No, it's not really different. As you're walking, there's a little bit less momentum because there's less weight, so there's a little bit less swish to a 5-yard or 4-yard kilt versus an 8-yard kilt. Not appreciably so to the casual observer, someone who does not know anything about kilts. For weight of cloth, let's talk about 13 versus 16, and then let's talk about like acrylic. We'll go other end of the spectrum. 13 to 16, the difference in visual frontage or front visual to 13 to 16 ounce really is only the width of the twill lines, the little diagonal lines, or this way, of the cloth. So you're not going to see a lot of difference outside of if you're within like a foot and a half of the actual yarns to see the twill lines that run through the cloth, the diagonal lines. Now, wool, 13-ounce wool versus 16-ounce wool, the properties of it acts very similar. Now, when you get into a different fabric, like acrylic or something like that, not meaning to poo-poo acrylic, but I'm going to for a second, there is a difference in the way that the cloth lays to what I will call the life of the cloth, meaning like how it looks.
I like that.
How it acts. Thank you. So, yes, there's a little bit of a difference. Now, if you take an acrylic kilt on a person and stand it by itself, the casual observer, underscoring the word casual, will look at it and go, yep, that's a kilt. Yep, looks fine. If you take a wool kilt by itself and put it in front of a casual observer from 5 feet or so, yep, that's a wool kilt. That's a kilt, looks fine. When you put them side by side, you will likely have the person, the casual observer, look at them both and say, okay, they look similar. I'm not sure why, but this one looks a little bit nicer than this one. They will probably be able to tell a little bit of a difference, but not appreciably so, and they won't be able to articulate the reasons why. One, acrylic being man-made fabric will probably reflect the light differently, and B, it will probably wrinkle a little bit more or crunch a little bit more, hang a little bit differently, and the set size will likely be a little bit smaller versus a wool kilt. So people can notice but not notice, or notice but not understand the differences between the two. So I hope that answers the question in that way, is that they'll be able to see it but not know what they're saying, but they'll feel it is a better way to phrase it.
Yeah, it's to the casual observer, the unused to kilts person,
untrained eye.
The untrained eye. It's going to be very subtle. It can be still subtle even if you do know what you're looking at. But I do think, for me at least, there is an appreciable, noticeable difference in the swish between an 8-yard and a 5-yard. And I'm not sure that 13 versus 16 ounce wool makes a difference for me, but the amount of yardage in the back of the kilt will make a difference to me visually. And that's why we do recommend, for a lot of people, if this is going to be the only kilt you buy, or if this is a kilt for a special occasion, you really want to look good in motion, go for the greater yardage. That's why it was invented. That's essentially the only reason an 8-yard kilt was invented, was for that swish. Most kilts historically were less yardage than that.
Yep, it evolved up over time with the amount of yardage.
Yeah.
Yep, indeed.
But if you're worried about how you look, you're pretty much safe to the casual observer.
Yeah. Quite.
You're going to look sexy no matter what.
Dead sexy even. So what's your go-to kilt? A 5-yarder or an 8-yarder? 16-ounce wool, 13-ounce wool, or acrylic? Let us know in the comments. If you want to see other videos on kilt construction techniques and videos about the fabric that we use to make the kilts, check out these videos over here.